In this video we're going to take a look at the marking out and the cutting of the pencil case. So first off, you have to mark your face side, face edge, which is your best sides, and you can see them showing it as if it was on the pencil case, so you can slide it out. On the bottom of the pieces then you can mark your name clearly because it'll be covered over at the end. You're not worried about having to sand it off. Turn the pieces that they're in line with each other and you've got the face side or face edge pointing back towards you. Then mark on 6mm of waste on the end, making sure that the tri-square is kept tight to the side. Measure an overall length of 220mm on this. Pencil, your 220. Along the edge is best to use the ruler and square that line across. Now we want to mark in the distance of the joint. Measure 18mm from the end line, not the end of the wood but the end line, and square those two lines across. You can see with the sample piece of wood that must be matching up to that width, which is of 18mm in thickness. Square each of these lines right around the piece. Make it sure to put on waste, marking the X's at the end, and it has to be done and completed on both sides and on both pieces. Double check to make sure that your brass strip is touching a face side or a face edge when you're squaring the lines around. Then you need to set the gauge. Take the marking gauge, place it in the vise, make sure it's loosened off so that you can slide the stem in the stock. Set the distance to 7mm. The spur should be the ruler should be to the tip of the spur, not lying down on it. Then cradle the piece in the vise as shown, and we want to make sure that we're marking from the face side onto the face edge, and you track the line and work down to it, and then from the bottom piece you just run off the bottom of it. Put it into the vise standing up, leaves your hands free for both hands to do the more difficult piece of gauging across the end grain, and you can pencil those in and make sure that you mark waste on the opposite side to the face side, which is the piece that's 11mm, which is to be cut out. To cut this we need to take the bench hook and the tenon saw, draw back on the line. Thumb is a guide, finger is a guide, and when you get the saw cut started then you can proceed to cut down to the line. Check and double check to not go past the line. Once you've cut the shoulder cut down to the line, place it in the vise at a bit of an angle. Don't have it extended too far out of it, make sure it's good and tight. Take the 25mm chisel, place it on top and get the angle that you want to tap down and clean out the piece. We're going to take small pieces at a time. It's obscured here by the hand at the minute, but when that is done, which is quite easy to do, just take small pieces at a time. You will remove the piece using the chisel. Then you can clean it off at the end, supporting your hand off the bench and keeping both hands behind the cutting edge of the chisel. Once you've that done, you can clean the shoulder if you like with the chisel shown as in the video, and we need to take the piece, an 18mm piece, and we can square along the edge of it to show where we need to cut the end waste. Put it back into the bench hook. Same procedure again, fingers a guide, thumb is a guide, and draw back on the line as many times as you need to get the saw cut started and get into the full stroke of the saw, and that should cut off your end waste and you should have your lap joint completed. That has to be repeated on each side and they should be flush, which is even on the ends. And if you need any cleaning, you can clean with both hands behind the cutting edge, thumb on top of the chisel as shown in the video.